solo piensas en riquezas, ya me voy.
Are you a better singer than you are a drummer, or a better drummer than you are a singer, bro?
I don't know, man. I just play, I just sing,
Because you're an accomplished drummer, dude. You know what I mean?
Well,
you do some of that, you know.
I've been very blessed, bro. I've been very blessed to record a lot of great music and work with a lot of great people, man.
Sí.
Yeah.
Y pues vienes a second generation tú también. A lot of people don't know that your dad was, with David Lee Garza at the very beginning, right? He was singing with him, right?
He was. I don't know if he was the first singer, but he was one of the first singers when they came out.
Sí.
And when Roberto Pulido took David Lee under his wing and they went touring everywhere, Dad was there with him. And unfortunately, my dad passed away in 1984. I was 8 years old, man.
¿Qué le pasó, bro?
He was just pretty much at the how do you say it? The wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay.
There was like a bar. A bar,
Una cantina.
Se hizo el pedo, ¿no?
Andaban poreando y se hizo unos
somebody took out a
chingados.
gun and he got killed, man.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
And how old were you, did you say?
I was 8 years old.
8 years old?
And at that time, man, I was kind of like, man, I was lost, bro. My grades went down in school and
I could imagine.
I was very confused because I couldn't understand why my dad had passed away. And so as I grew up and started recording and playing with bands, I always wanted to finish what he started.
Sí.
You know what I'm saying? And here we are, man. Here we are.
Yeah.
I've had my own band for 25 years. We're celebrating Labor Day weekend, and we'll talk about all that later. Pero yeah, man. I mean, aquí estamos, and there's actually a song that I did with my dad, and that's something that I wanted to talk about. Basically, what he did is he did like 2 albums with David Lee.
Okay.
One of them got released on Capitol because Capitol had all the Falcon. They had all the Falcon.
Arnaldo Ramirez Sr.
The library.
Yeah.
And there was an album there that David Lee didn't release officially. And they finally released it because I guess they were looking through the library. Hey, there's a David Lee record here.
Sí.
Well, my dad's voice is on there.
Wow.
Right? And then there's some other songs that they had done, various 45s and stuff like that.
Sí.
I bet people are going, what are 45s?
They were little records.
Yeah.
They were little records because you have the albums that are the big records.
Like the single?
But
Well, that was the
you used to
single.
have little records with a big circle in the middle.
Yeah.
And you'd have to put an adapter in there to be able to play it on the record
Andale.
player. And those were the singles. And the side A was usually the hit. And side B was like a B-side.
Like a
but
follow-up,
sometimes
yeah.
the B-side would be as good as
good
the
as-
A
yeah,
side.
hell yeah.
So, yeah.
So long story short, man. So when I decided to do my own thing, I said, man, I've always wanted to look up my dad's music, right? And there was this man. His name is Sam Zuniga. He was the historian for the Tejano Music Awards.
Okay.
Every time they would present an award to a certain songwriter or somebody behind the scenes that wasn't or los músicos que ya se habían retirado,
Sí.
they would give them Hall of Fame awards and whatnot. He was the guy that would look them up. He was the guy that would research. Andale.
Órale.
So one time I said, hey man, there's a thing I'm looking for. Belisa Records was the label. He says, you know what, that sounds familiar, pero déjame ver. And about 2 years later, he calls me. He says, Chente, I found the guy, man, Belisa Records. He said he's got your dad's masters.
Wow.
Really? So anyway, long story short,
What did you feel at that moment?
I just freaked out. At first I said, wow,
your
let me
dad's
see.
voice,
Yeah.
dude,
So then I said, hey man, I got a hold of him and I said, look, here's what I want to do. I want to see if the masters are still good enough to put them on tape or
and
digitally.
remaster.
Right, remaster.
Yeah.
Take my dad's voice out and I sing with him.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I did it. And thanks to Gilbert Velasquez and a couple other people that made it happen for me, I got all the guys back in the studio. David Lee, his father, Papa Tony,
Sí.
Adam, the drummer, Richard, the bass player, and Wowie, the sax player.
Yeah.
They all played on that original track.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Wow.
And they retracted with me and my dad's voice.
And what's the name
So
of it, man? I want to look.
It's called
for this.
Celos.
Celos.
Yeah, it's
And
called Celos.
It's under Chente
Yeah,
Barrera.
uh-huh.
Okay.
It was on my very first record that I did with Capitol.